Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to talk about this with you guys, this one last little thing that I found while I was researching for the last video about the KG situation. I did come across something on Reddit, and I usually don't go on Reddit, but just about every issue that is K-pop related ends up on Reddit, obviously. But this particular comment that I was looking at while I was just kind of browsing, looking at people's takes on KG leaving VIXX, the overarching problem being, of course, the K-pop industry, I came across a Korean person's comment on this, and I thought it was very interesting. It has a different perspective from a Korean standpoint as to what is going on, and so I wanted to share that with you guys and give my thoughts, and that's basically what this video is. So without further ado, let me read this comment from the commenter on Reddit who talked about their view on this issue. So they say here, I'm Korean, and the first thing I thought was, oh, they really tried to train VIXX like they would their Korean trainees. Not saying that Koreans should be able to be trained like that, but it's just culturally very different. It's seen as necessary and normal to be pushed to the limit and disciplined. Idols have definitely endured the kind of stuff that was listed in KG's lawsuit. It's just that Korean trainees are made to believe that they are mentally weak if they cannot endure the abusive treatment. Goes on to say, the companies don't see it as abuse, but discipline and training them. It's effed up, but that's how it is. And because the idols before them had it even worse, it's almost like they feel like they have no right to complain. Hopefully with KG speaking up like this, the K-pop industry wakes up and understands they're going to have to make some huge changes if they truly want to continue to make global groups. Obviously not just global groups, but just any kind of K-pop group at all, because even though there are Korean groups that are marketed for Korea specifically, they still do tours around the US and in other countries as well. So they're still marketed in a way geared towards the global fans as well, because they have them and they can't just ignore that they exist. But yeah, I understand what this person is saying. And I think one of the biggest issues is that whole part where they talk about how the companies see this not as abuse, but that the companies see this kind of treatment as disciplining these young people, not abusing these young people. But it's like, it is abuse. They also brought up the cultural difference. Like, it's culturally, maybe even, and this is just kind of my own thought process, but I'm thinking that it's cultural to view this type of stuff as discipline, right? We are restricting food and water from you for a certain amount of hours to show discipline, but it's discipline in like a very unhealthy manner, which becomes abuse, or should I say, which is abuse. It doesn't become abuse. Restricting and preventing young people from consuming as much calories as they should to burn off within a day, the water, the nutrients, all that they need, and saying that this is discipline, that rubs me the wrong way, especially when you look at it and you're seeing that this kind of treatment can cause starvation, not being able to sleep properly, and all this other stuff. Kind of reminds me of the Momo situation. Y'all remember I showed clips of the Momo conversation that she had where she was talking about how the company made her starve herself to the point where she was on a strict diet of just eating ice cubes and that she could barely sleep and things like that. She said she was scared to go to sleep even because she was scared she wouldn't wake up. And when practices lead to things like that, life-harming situations like that, those kinds of things need to be stopped. So I'm really glad that this commenter made this comment on Reddit. I thought that would be interesting to present this to you, just as a side note to the conversation that we already had about KG from VIXX and what she talked about in her statement that she made. This is basically what all K-pop idols go through. It's a shame, it's sad, but this is the truth. And one of the things that bothers me the most is that these methods were being used in the US. But even more so, it's a big deal in the US, don't get me wrong. But even more so, it's still a big deal in Korea too. And I guess it's a cultural difference, but we see it in America as abuse because it's wrong. Even to the point where how they constantly rag and nag on these young people and say very disrespectful things. Like I said, YG, Hyunsuk, that guy said some very disrespectful things very shameful things to girl trainees, guy trainees, broke them down mentally. But because of how Koreans view that stuff, they view it as like a learning tool to toughen them up, to create a hardened mind, right? A focused mind, determination that will propel them to do better. But in reality, it's still very traumatizing. And I know it is, because years after this stuff has happened, these idols will out of the blue say, hey, I remember when this happened and I was so devastated. And so it's still traumatizing, even though they might pass it off as, well, it was just because they were trying to toughen me up and they were trying to. It's funny because I mentioned my Korean friend who was in the trainee system in my last video. I actually made a comment in a live stream. I think I said something to the effect of, I think that's brutal that, the company would do that to young people. And this is how embedded in the minds of Korean people that this is just, a toughening up thing. That because my friend had also said something similar, that, well, that's how the industry is and that's how they toughen you up. And I get that aspect that, hey, if you can't take this kind of criticism or this kind of harsh way of speaking or this talking down to from us, the staff at the company, how are you going to deal with the hundreds of thousands of fans constantly criticizing and critiquing you at every turn? So it kind of toughens you up to deal with that as well. But the fact that you even feel like you have to toughen them up, firstly, by using abusive language to convey that, and secondly, for something that is honestly a fantasy-based sort of thing, because it is, always concerned me. It always concerned me that that's what you have to do. That's how they handle the situations with the idols. Either way, though, I'm really glad that this commenter said this. Like, from a Korean perspective, yes, that does make sense that this is how they train their idols. But at the same time, I think that it's still bad and it does need to change. And even this Korean commenter had said that hopefully with what KG has done, it will cause the K-pop industry to wake up and understand that there are things that need to be changed. Huge changes need to be made. And that's a big telltale sign when a Korean says it. Even when they acknowledge that, look, Korean culture, they view this as not abuse, but as discipline. They still say at the end, hey, there's some changes that need to be made. And this is one of many things that need to be changed in the industry. And KG is cracking Pandora's box on that. And so I give kudos to this Korean person who wrote this comment. Thank you for writing this comment. I'm actually glad that they wrote this comment, because it really does give insight to like the mind of Korean people as to how they view this and why they tolerate it. They tolerate it because in their minds, and they are made to believe this by the company people, that this is to discipline you, to cause you to be better. So there's that as well. But yes, that's all I wanted to say. Let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments. Again, thank you so much to the person who commented this comment. This is an amazing comment. When I saw it, I knew I had to talk about this because it's very important. It is an eye-opening thing. Of course, I knew this, but to like read it in this way, I think they worded it very beautifully. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, it's your boy Ave signing out. Peace. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.